Hello everyone. Sorry, Namaskar. Welcome you all to the 6th episode of the Roto-Moulding Leadership Program by Technobase. This program is simply a MBA class on leadership and management by having conversation with leaders of the roto-moulding industry. First of all, I would like to convey sincere thanks to Mr. Martin Spencer, who is a pivotal in this program and developing this program on every month. So I'm very much thankful to Mr. Martin Spencer. We have all these, the invited guests on various episodes. So I welcome them all for this Roto-Moulding leadership. Today, our guest today is Mr. Reijo Ström. He's the CEO of the Motoplast, Finland, a well-experienced and eminent roto-moulding professional with 40 plus years of experience in the roto-moulding industry. Before we get into today's episode of the Roto-Moulding Leadership Program, let me introduce to you all about the Technobase and its services for the roto-moulding industry. Technobase, established in 2005, is based in Thailand. It is recognized as International Resource Center for Industries and Technologies. The services are divided into the two main segments. One is the professional education, other is the business services. We offer global services with trade exhibitions, training, conferences, consulting, publications. The business focus is mainly into the two segments. Polymer side and non-polymer side. Plastic industry is one of the key business areas. Now let me introduce to you, what kind of services we offer for the roto-moulding businesses and professionals involved with roto-moulding. First one is the Roto-Moulding Trade Expo. We are organizing this expo in 2013 in Bangkok during the 29 to 31st so Southeast Asia Roto-Moulding Trade Expo, 29 to 31st March in Bangkok. And then we have a Middle East Roto-Moulding Trade Expo, which is scheduled on the 21st to 22nd November 2023. And it is going to be in Sharjah near Dubai in UAE. So these are the two exhibitions we organize under the Roto-Moulding Trade Expo. Now the booth booking is open now, and there are also some conference programs also there, and this is an in-person event. We have developed a roto-moulding masterclass. It's a 2-day masterclass. Mr. Martin Spencer is the resource person for this program, and this program he discusses about the principles, the practical issues and design aspects and advanced features of the roto-moulding, and it is suitable for the experience as well as the entry-level roto-moulding professionals. The upcoming schedule is during the 18 to 19 October. You can always register at the knowhow-webinars.com. And we have this roto-moulding plant audit and training. Along with this the training programs, we also offer the consulting, audit process audit, and also training for the key employees, and also the brainstorming session. And this can be in person as well as online as well. And we have a Roto-Moulding Business Forum. This is an online forum focusing on the latest techno-commercial developments in roto-moulding industry. The frequency of this event is 2 times a year, and the next event is scheduled on the 7th December. It's going to be there will be presentations and discussion sessions in the forum. And we have sponsorships, so if you're interested, anybody can contact us. Leadership. This is one of our special events, simply a mini MBA class. And in this program, we are hosting various well-experienced and eminent roto-moulding business leaders to discuss about their experiences and management practices, lessons learned, and also advice to the younger roto-moulding professionals. I do encourage every roto-moulding professional should not miss this event or leadership program. We have other event is the Roto-Moulding Research, and this is an event focusing on the research developments related to roto-moulding. We are hosting our first episode on 14th September. In this episode, Dr. Alex Pichard will be speaking on innovation from the roto-moulding research at the Queen's University Belfast. And also special thanks to Mr. Mark Fiens for coordinating and supporting this program. We have this Roto-Moulding newsletter. We are producing a weekly newsletter via LinkedIn with focus on activities and developments. Like, if any of the companies interested, they can share information to include in this newsletter. But also we offer advertisement opportunities as well. We have this Roto-Moulding Business Connect. This is a marketing and branding service for the Roto-Moulding companies to introduce and promote their businesses globally through a TechnoBiz platform. This is a customized and fee-based service for the interested companies. So currently we have subscribers around 970 Roto-Moulding professionals across the world for our online programs. And out of these subscribers, so 60% are from the Asia and the rest from the different parts of the world. They have access to join all these online programs at their convenient time. If they're unable to join the live session like today, they can have access to the record session. And with one-time subscription, they will get the links for all the future Roto-Moulding programs of partners with TechnoBiz. We also offer a sponsorship and advertisements. There are many affordable and various types of advertising and sponsorship opportunities if you're interested. We are pretty active in social media platforms to update our activities, connect with the Roto-Moulding industries, particularly LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, and through our Roto-Moulding network. And we do have a video platform on YouTube, the TechnoBiz channel, and most of all our online programs which are available to view on YouTube. I encourage all of you to check our TechnoBiz channel, even to watch all the past episodes of Leadership Business Forums. So please feel free to check this TechnoBiz channel. I'm pleased to introduce our event hosted by our strategic partner, Society of Asian Roto-Moulder, we call shortly STAR. They're scheduled an event during the 28 to 30 in January 2023, 19th annual conference of the STAR. Please check more details at the starasia.org for any additional information required. So let me conclude my introduction about the TechnoBiz. Our vision for the Roto-Moulding industry is we are focusing on serving, with 4 pillars: engaging, building, marketing, and branding. All are very much integrated. I invite you all to be part of this TechnoBiz journey, and I think you all have my contact information. Feel free to reach out to me if you need any assistance from us. So I welcome you all for today's episode of the Roto-Moulding Leadership with Mr. Reijo Ström. Before we start the session I wanted to show a video on the Motoplast, what kind of product line they're producing, and also the facilities and infrastructure they have. So let me show you the short video on the Motoplast. And that's about the Motoplast video. Okay, welcome you all. I'd like to invite Mr. Reijo Ström to join today for the leadership session. Reijo.
Hi, Taram. Fine, thank you. Thanks for inviting. And cheers for everybody.
Welcome. It's a pleasure to have you. My place supposed to be taken care of by the Martin Spencer, and today, due to some reasons that I'm hosting you today, so we will have a lively conversation together on the various issues about the Roto-Moulding, all issues about Roto-Moulding. Okay, yeah. And before I ask, we start conversation, I'd like to ask all the audience, if you like to pose any questions to Reijo, feel free to post your questions. I will include it appropriately, during my conversation with him. So there is a question box there, so you can post any questions you have. But make sure relevant. This is not a technical session to pose any technical questions. Okay, it's a leadership issue, so we can talk about broader issues of the Roto-Moulding. Reijo, may I call that way? Is it correct way to pronounce it?
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
Okay, great. So let's let's dive into our conversation. As I understand that you've been in the Roto-Moulding for close to 44 years. Is that right? Yeah.
That's right. Started 1978. Yeah.
Oh man, that's still a very long journey. Yeah. Okay. So
it is really.
And
I'm still going on.
Yeah. Another 40 more years, right?
Yeah. Let's see.
Let's see. Can you talk before we go to, let's look at your company Motoplast. We have seen the short video about it. Maybe you can give some insights about how this evolved. You have Motoplast, you have Motorol. It's a division of the Motorol. So can you share some insights about the evolution of the Motoplast since your father days, to current status? Yeah.
I see. Okay. Sure. It's a pleasure for me. Actually, the company is called the Motorol Company. Was founded in 1958 by my father, and the first 15 years it was only like importing and be as a wholesaler of car accessories from different parts from Europe mainly to the Finnish markets. Later on, late 60s, it came in the picture of components and parts to the heavy-duty industrial vehicles, and that was the time when we started to manufacture the bead steel mud guards for the lorries. And like in 70s, I think we manufactured 2 years already those days out of sheet steel mud guards, and those were heavy and they rusted very easily, and they rank it, only just the problems. Also, the manufacturing was quite difficult. We built our own machines to bend them. We needed to do every kinds of thing, cut them and finally paint them. And when they were stored outside, they were already rusty before we send them to the customers, to bodybuilders, or chassis builders. So that's like in 70s, early 70s. So we started to think about they need to be made out of something else, not sheet steel anymore. Took probably 2-3 years more. I was like a very young engineering student with my father in Chicago, together in Chicago in a plastic trade trade show in 1975, I think so. Yeah, 1975 that was, I think, or 1976.
So at the time they have NPE. There is NP. Is it NPE show?
I don't remember. I don't recall anymore which show it was, but I think it was more or less like a plastic manufacturing show, like a K in
Yeah, there is
like
in US we call the NPE. It's an expo that is similar to the like a K show. Yeah. Okay, go on. Yeah. So
yeah,
you went to
that's you know, been so many trade shows, I don't recall the names.
Understood.
So yeah. So we were browsing there around, and we came to one stand where we saw huge plastic items, and there was the one guy called Rashmit standing on the stand, and we went there and have just a small chat with him there, and how these are made. And he was talking about rotational molding, and we were thinking about something. What's that, boy? It's those molds have to be costly, like I don't know what. And well, anyhow, he told us that no. This is a simple process in a way, and you can make quite economical molds, etc. So we started to be very interested in, and then we showed him a picture of a mud guard, and Rush was looking at that and said, "Ah, of course, guys, you just put them to, together, like make a round. Well, I can show it in my hands, like you make a mold like this. So there you have two mud guards. You just cut them away from each other, and we were looking quite eyes open there. That what is it really so?" And well, yeah. And Rush told us a little bit more about the issue, and so actually he was very open. That was actually a first stand what Association of Rotational Molding America had in somewhere in some plastic shows, and we just luckily just visited that stand, and so we discussed it a little bit more, and that ended up to to make it short, this history. So that ended up to a license agreement with the company he was CEO. That was Plastech company in Philadelphia. So that was the lucky point for us. I mean, a real lucky point for us.
Yeah.
Because we were first thinking about vacuum molding. That's very limited actually when thinking about today's issue. So of course it was the best way to make mud guards, but that's it. It's otherwise you don't have that kind of freedom what you have with rotational molding. But there is these differences of these two different manufacturing methods. So that's how it started. That was a lucky start to come into the rotational molding business. And of course, when Rush was active in association as well, so he talked me over in, I don't know, in 10 minutes to join the arm probably. Of course, we didn't have any knowledge about how things are running. So it was lucky for me, of course, when 20 plus years old guy went first in our meeting in Denmark. So I was just looking around with all these American fellows and trying to chat with them. So yeah, that was a good starting point. And that's how actually the Motoplast division had its start. 1978, we received the first molding machine from United States, 1,500 Macmillan. This was put up there in Helsinki.
And so you started with the products. So what kind of products you produced? I think you have changed your product profiles also, right? Yeah.
Yeah, of course it was, the starting point was only to manufacture these mud guards.
Right.
Nothing else. Of course, we had in mind when we were there in Plastic Company, we saw their slaughter containers. They were only manufacturing mainly, or let's say they were mainly manufacturing slaughter containers and selling them around the United States, and they made a huge fine business there. I mean, they were a so good business with those containers that you don't believe those days. Today, how it was, but so we were, of course, interested in of licensing those products as well. What we did, and we still have many of those container models in our production. So they are very good also for today's slaughter business, where we have many good customers there. Yes, so we started anyhow with the mudguard business because there we have it customers already, of course, for many years, and they were eager to have those products, which we didn't pay at all enough. They probably you understand that the price of mudguard cannot be so good. So that was mainly like a learning point to put your head in the roto-moulding business, in the roto-moulding technology, and first in a technology, because our company salesmen, they sold those to chassis makers, so I didn't have to. I just needed to have a grow bar in my hand and learn how to roto-mold, more or less. I was at the same time I was learning my engineering in the university. So then you understand where I needed to spend more of my summers and extra weekends, etc. So I was trying to get the information how to get the products away from the molds, more or less. Of course, we had a good contact to the United States with the license agreement with the plastic companies. So all the tricky issues we could also always to send them a telex or telefax, whatever it was those days, and
Yes.
waiting for you didn't get the answer in 5 seconds. Sometimes it took 5 hours, or well, not 5 days, but anyhow. So that's how it was. Still those days we sent letters to customers, and waited those suppliers. Yeah.
Those good old days. Those good old days.
That's the good old days. Everybody had time to wait. It wasn't anything like today that if you don't answer in 10 seconds, you might be lose a customer. So it's totally a different issue. The competition is so hard. But yeah, so that was a starting point, and also we started to manufacture trash containers, which probably everybody understand are easy as shape, and those days all the trash containers were made out of the glass fiber, and the glass fiber was breaking easily, but otherwise it was interesting business area, the trash containers, but it's only took a long time before we could get the potential customers that they understood that thermoplastic could be much better, like compared to particularly in those kind of trash containers. So they were, winter can be quite harsh here in Finland, and thought about that. Okay, in summer they are flexible, but what it comes to winter, so do they crack? But luckily we had this mudguards business already running, and we could show them that if you think they are lasting heavy-duty lorries, so hell yeah, they should last in a trash container as well. Very good, and that's true. We made extremely well with trash containers. Then later on in the years, now I'm jumping a little bit, but in the early 90s, so we made it all over 40,000 600 and 400 liter trash containers yearly to all the Nordic countries. So that was good business those days. But that's a history as well. We are not making any more. But that's the starting point of the Motoplast and for my business life. So I probably didn't think so much during my university that I will be in plastic business. I was mainly thinking about mechanical engineering mainly, and also my plans for to continue in economical university to be like more or less like like knowing much more in advance about all the that you can understand the figures as well.
Yeah.
But maybe for our Roto-Moulding business, it was better that I didn't know so much when I studied, because it was a disastrous few starting years. I mean, we didn't find any money out of it. We were losing money through I mean, few years. But yeah, it took some time, before. In late 70s and early 80s, still there was only probably DuPont who had this material which was okay to use, and also in harsh winter environment. So it was a little difficult to justify the customers that I understand that you are wondering, do they last? But yes, like in slaughteries, so we needed to give free of charge few sample containers for them first to use before they started to understand. They have these stainless steel things, and they were just laughing me as a young guy when I came there with my brochures and showing them, and they were showing me the door that, hey guy, don't come here with those kind of plastic issues. They will not last in our systems. We are handling them so heavy. But when they get these few containers in the free, and this is how actually that was the only way I succeeded to go into slaughteries. I needed to keep them free of charge few containers, and of course when they use it a few some months or even maybe some weeks, and I visited them again, so then they took me totally different way. They really said that it really looks like you are talking some sense of this.
Yeah.
And for me it's very easy, because the stainless steel issues, they were costing from 3 times 4 times more, and still these plastic containers were lasting enough long time for them to amortize them. So it was okay. So yeah, I can continue this, for hours if you want to listen.
I'm very interesting. Actually, I want to touch, a little bit about your father. I think it looks like you guys together. I want to know how easy is hard on you because you were a student, and when you really into Roto-Moulding, and so how was your interaction with your father and grooming you into the Roto-Moulding?
No, yeah, my father was one of the nicest guy in this world. So what I knew, he never pushes you anywhere, or he took all the workers like very nicely, and even if the colleagues gave you a wrong answer or funny answer or whatever, he start to he kept probably in his own mind what he was thinking about the answer, but yeah, so as I told you, it was very interesting to work together with him. He was really like trying to push me everywhere. In a way, he was really encouraging me when I told him that, hey, I'm 28 and you are sending me to the United States. to somewhere in, well, yeah, that was in Texas. Was it in Denver? Maybe Texas somewhere there. Yeah, pushing me to Denver, Texas, somewhere in America with the professional roto-molders there, and what can I discuss with them there and about it. Just make them questions. Ask.
Yeah.
And I went there, and first of all, they were wondering how I could come there, because they thought that the Finland is one part of the Baltic countries, which was those days under the Soviet Union, and they were asking how they let you to come here. And, well, that was actually an easy part to get in, to know those guys. I never think about that they will ask me that kind of question. So that was one good, starting point with the discussions to say, yeah, it's no problem. We are open. We are an independent country there. Even we have that big neighbor, so we are an independent country and we can freely travel and blah blah blah. So then it was a little bit easier to to start make some questions about them. And of course, they were interested if I'm a communist or what I am or how I'm thinking. And finally, they say me that seems like you are a good Republican, and we can have you as a friend. So that's how it was. Yeah. And yeah, about my father more. So yeah, he was very interested in to build up the rotational molding business because I think in the starting points he was discussing more with Rashmit, the Plastech CEO, than what I was contacted with. Because I was in the university those days still,
right.
And I think the rush gave him so many ideas and possibilities, and that I could see my father was his eyes was open when he was talking to me about that. You can do this, you can do that, and you can do this, and I was like, yeah, but how I'm going to sell them? But yeah, it's no problem. That's always like what he told me. He was running so fast in his ideas that I had all there's so many good history about what he was. He was running 10 years ahead of all his ideas.
Wow.
All his ideas already those days, and then that was like a turning point when he moved to America after he retired from the company. He was living in Florida 16 years. And my goodness, he really went up there with eyes open and looking ideas in everywhere in America. He was visiting all the kind of technical trade shows and send a pile of brochures to Finland to say that these guys, these you need to start, you need to start these, and you need to start that. And, oh yeah, and then after 10 years, you could see that those things were very good selling in Finland for somebody else. Yeah, yeah. So he added that in his blog, so he never stopped it. That one.
No, it's nice to know about your father here.
Yeah, and now I'm probably doing the same thing for my books.
Yeah. So how is the Motoplast doing now? With COVID, before COVID and post COVID, how is the situation now in terms of business performance and
Well, as a let's say we have been lucky during the COVID time because of many of our customers have succeeded to keep up their business very well. That means that they are more exporting from Finland to other countries, like with vehicles and mining industry products and so on. So it has been very good for us. Also for this, what I told you about slaughtery business, even there was a depression, but like in 90s there was a depression, but believe me or not, people are still eating, and so lottery business, and so it seems to be a very nice, even in a bad time. So as coming to back to your question, so yes, we have been lucky about this, that we have the possibility to keep up the production all the time, no layoffs, no nothing like that. But the other side of the coin, of course, is the cost issues, which has given us a tough time. Not with proprietary products, there you have, this is a basic truth. With proprietary products, you always have like a freedom, well, more or less like a freedom, let's say like that, to adjust your price, price level, which is beneficial for you and your company. Of course, you need to be aware what the competitors are doing at the same time. But then go with the subcontracting and the utility vehicle industry. Oh my goodness, that's not so easy. Like these big tractor makers and couch bus makers, like what we have, many of them in our customers. Like if you try to get 5% more the price, you need to write the Bible, like almost like all your costs. You need to open everything. It's not so easy. Of course, there was some parts when everybody realizes like that the price of the plastic, the cost of the plastic went over 2 times more. So then it was probably a little bit easier to justify. Even the toughest customer understood that, yeah, there is maybe a point of that, but still they wanted to discuss about if we raise it over €1 per kilo the price. So they were still like, okay, is it really so? And so it was a hard thing. So as I mentioned, that's always the tricky part between proprietary and subcontracted products.
Yeah.
Price. Yeah.
But your Motoplast is stick to the roto-moulding only, right? You don't do any other process. Do you have any other process? No.
No, it's only roto-moulding. It's been only roto-moulding, and that's how it's probably going to stay.
Do you have a plan to move into any other product line using other processes, or do you want to stick to only the roto-moulding?
No, let's say like it's sometimes our customers are asking about that could you probably like start the blow molding as well, or maybe there have been few discussions about it, but I don't know. It's they just ask it because they want to have competitions, and when they have already these are more or less of subcontracting customers, so they just want to have more competition there, and so that means that you have to go in there with price. So it's not a question of cost, it's a question of the price of the end product, and that's a little bit tricky way to go to the business. And I would probably say that whoever is thinking about going a new business or like other plastic manufacturing, so it's always to be aware that you have some other idea nobody else has, or you have found it really a good something better way to do it, or you can combine something which nobody else has done before. That's our strength, what we're trying to always come with, together when we have R&D discussions with our customers, because they are just coming with the one component, which most likely could be much better price with blow molding or maybe even a metal box or something, we always try to ask them that what's around this box or this product in your, in your vehicle or whatever. And then they open, they see that there are some, other interesting issues and like whatever, pipes, whatever. There could be whatever, lids and caps, and then we start to look the whole thing, and finally, luckily again, when we are in Roto-Moulding business, we can tell them that, yeah, but we can mold all those for other components, plus this lid, all at the same time. And that's how you come there with something that they haven't had before. So you are kicking out 4 other or 3 other, suppliers for different things. One could be an injection molded product, one could be a blow molded, one could be steel, one could be whatever. And then all these things you can roto-mold in with one molding, with one mold, which is probably a little complicated mold, of course, but even though it's then you don't discuss about, then you don't have to compare your price to a blow molded price or glass fiber price. Then they are thinking about totally other issues. It's only that they need to be aware that the mold could cost a little bit more. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, I want to go back a little bit about your 44 years of your company. If you look back 44 years, and what was the really difficult times for you, in running the business as a roto-molder?
I'm sorry, what was
in that 44 years of running the business of your company, roto-molding business, what was your hard times, really hard times in running the business? Did you experience any hard times? Yeah, look, oh man, that time is really hard times, and so
yeah, of course, when there was this, when coming back to that time of when Soviet Union, the old Soviet Union collapsed, that was 92, I think so, and in one night those days, Finland, the whole Finland industry lost 26% of the export.
Oh.
So, we were really in a hard time those days. So, and try to make it short again. So, when all the companies there were lots of companies in Finland who was just, maybe like 90% or maybe everything what they manufactured was only because the trade to Soviet Union. The trade actually the whole 80s was very good because there wasn't any competition. We were buying oil from Soviet Union, raw oil, and this was like a exchange. The Finnish chamber, they just collected all the other kinds of proposals from Finnish manufacturers, and then they exchanged this. So together with the Russians. So it was very easy business those days, and lots of companies made in the 80s and very fine profit and so on. Of course, there wasn't nothing to do with rotational molding those days so much. Like the Russians, they didn't believe about the plastic because they were using locally manufactured products, and the Russian plastics was. So yeah, to make it short again, so they didn't believe that the plastic could be something. So even our business, there was some heating oil tanks and water tanks what we supplied them, but nothing so big. And So, but when that collapse came, so then started depression in Finland, and that was a very hard time. Also, many companies. I mean, that was very common in late 80s that the banks were giving currency loans, like you took the loans in US dollars to your company to run your company or making investments, and the banks gave money out of like oh my goodness, you didn't have to have any big like showing that you have some idea of something. So it was really crazy times, the late 80s. And at the same time, when Soviet Union collapsed, so like 93, 94, so we needed to make 2 times devaluation the Finnish currency, the Finnish mark, and the total devaluation was nearly 35%, and all the companies had it currency loans. So second issue was that your loans were raising 30%. So in the Finnish in our currency. So that was the last point for many companies. It was very tricky years for us, for the Motorola company, which was the biggest. It was the main business area. We were importing and being wholesaler. So it was difficult. Oh my goodness, it was really difficult time. For us, that's Roto-Moulding and making those trash containers. For us, it was good. Yeah, of course, it was good because we were selling Swedish and Norwegian currency and Danish currency, our trash containers, and also for Finnish markets as well, of course. And so in one night, so our prices in local currency so went up 30%. Understand that Finnish marks, when we lost 30% and we were selling with Swedish crowns and Norwegian crowns, so we get paid very well from the trash containers. But that was a good years, like 5-6 years. It was very good years for us. But that was also that we made these investments of the real estate, what you show it in that first when you opened this session. So that house was built in 1990.
Oh.
And we took there 2 new machines in at the same time, same year, because as I told you, late 80s, the money came in from the windows and doors, and we needed to make investments. Also, we took some currency loans as well. So yeah, it was good for us because we could pay the Motoplast investments with the Motoplast business. So that was good.
And how is the competition now for you in the local company, in the Finnish companies, roto-molders, or even the European roto-molders? How is the impact on your business, or how you're managing it?
The local Roto-Moulding, now we are talking about Finland.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting when thinking like, let's say, like a whole Nordic countries. So Finland has the least population. We are 5.5 million. Sweden, there's 8.5 million. Norwegians are, I don't really even recall, I should, but I don't recall how many they are, but Denmark as well. So we are the smallest as a population. Our country is probably the biggest as a square area, but so in also during the first part of 90s, so it came this new legislation of wastewater handling. Mm-hmm. Before that, like 80s, there were only like 3 roto-molding companies in Finland. And when the legislation for wastewater handling, the first stage in early 90s came to Finland, it opened the market of nearly 500,000 private houses, private family houses and summer cottages, which needed to be connected to these kind of sewage water handling tanks.
Septic tanks.
No, yeah. And oh my goodness, that was like El Dorado. I mean, everybody were excited in the industry. Everybody wanted to start roto-moulding those tanks. And they, of course, many contacted for us that can we start to cooperate with them. And we started with the one big company called Vavin, Lapco Vavin, making them from these sewage tanks as a subcontracted cooperation for many years, like I think we were whole 90s nearly, before they bought their own machine. And so that was it. And during, I think, yeah, during the whole 90s, so during that time, it came 8 or 9 companies more, just because of manufacturing sewage water tanks or wastewater water handling tanks, underground tanks. The regulations were very tough, and so you needed to purify something like 95% of the phosphor and so on. So it needed to be like a data machine itself. You need the system to how to put their chemicals and feeding the chemicals around the year. Now we are talking about summer, which people are there in the summer but not in the winter, and so they find it that the system is that's too heavy regulations, and they are not working on the winter time, and people don't have a money for it. They were asking about 15,000 to 20,000 euro about that kind of one unit. And what an old pair in the middle of Finland, in the outside communal sewage system, 80 years, 70 years old people, what they can do with when they find that kind of money. Banks are not giving loans for that. And so, the regulations, they made it a little bit easier during, next 3 or 4 years. And then they made it again after 3 or 4 years easier, the requirements. So that meant that people lost their belief of the whole issue. They started to believe that, okay, if we wait for 4 years more, so requirements will be more easier again. Right. Maybe finally we can keep the old system that they
Now, how many companies are roto-moulding companies in Finland?
8 or 9 companies came in the business.
And in Nordic region, how many altogether?
It didn't came so many. Actually, only probably 2 to Sweden, and I don't recall that it came more to. I don't remember. Maybe somebody in Norway, but the crazy situation was in Finland. Totally, it's. I mean, just like during few years. So from 3 we were like 13, 14 companies in Finland. So of course those companies they started to have a problem because there wasn't any market for those tanks. Everybody invested in machines and tank molds, and then nobody wanted to buy them. So it was tough thing. So what they started to do, of course, they started to roto-mold trash containers. So, and we were big in that business. So what they do, they compare our prices and started to make trash containers a little bit lower price compared to ours. They're in alive somehow. So that was the like a third starting point for us to go to a new business areas, to a more trickier issues like vehicle industry products and etc. Because there wasn't any more business for us in the trash brush
Yeah.
container
Yes.
manufacturing. Yeah.
Mhm. And your export for the Motoplast, the export business, is it Europe or outside Europe too?
Outside Europe too.
Okay, and
Funny
how
thing,
much
we are making products to India.
Okay.
We're making products to Brazil.
Mm.
What else outside? Of course, we were making lots to Russia as well. Of course, everybody can understand that now during this wartime. So there's nothing is happening. Of course, we are not supplying them anything at the moment.
And your export market is growing now? How is it like?
It's been very good. I have to say that I have, you know, I'm always thinking that export to those like countries, oh yeah, like Singapore, for example, think about that,
Yeah.
and China,
Yeah.
think about that, we are exporting, and they are like more or less like the vehicle components.
Yeah.
So more complicated components, tanks and roofs and those kind of things, which we are also like secondary issues. We are, you know, putting lots different components there, so they buy like a whole one item ready to install to the vehicles. So that's funny issues. Of course, there is in many, I should say, there is a reasons why we have received these customers. We haven't been in a trade shows in Europe or somewhere else. I've been once in Abu Dhabi. I've been in a trade show with our stand, and I enjoyed the sun and the sand there. It was nice. Otherwise, no, nothing business for us. But yeah. So this has been like as I told you, we haven't been in trade shows in Central Europe somewhere now, only in Nordic countries. Of course, we've been in the trade shows as a stand, but it has been a question of connection to the different people in different, you know, like my colleagues, not Roto-Moulding, but I mean like my customers or customers, you know, where they are networking and they are like, you know, telling about that there is a one manufacturer in Finland as well who can, you know, channel, how do you call it, channel telephone. Yeah. So yeah, to spread out, you know, in that way, and we've been lucky with that. We've been lucky in that we have justified right persons, you know, about have a knowledge about what we are doing and what we can do and how we are helping our customers by, for example, like industrial designing we are giving from starting point to our customers as well. So it's more or less that way we have succeeded to go into this little outside business from Finland totally. Yeah, it's been interesting, and they have their business seems to be run very well. So we've been lucky. I can say that. It's nothing else.
So let's look into a little bit on the labor, maybe workers or, you know, employees, and how is situation there about the wages or getting the right talent, or how do you groom them? Like, what is situation in your company or, you know, other in Europe or Nordic countries?
First of all, when thinking about needed at this time to need new workers is a big, it's a real challenge. It's really a real challenge. Our now this might be difficult for me to find in English, but it's the rate of, you know, employed people in Finland. It's over 75%.
Okay.
That means that unemployment rate is very low. So and we have a huge amount of open work possibilities in Finland. then it's a question what kind of work is that. So it's of course when youngsters they want to maybe not do that kind of heavy industrial work or cleaning work or whatever. So but it's challenging, and particularly this time now for this kind of industry work, like rotational molding, to be in a factory where it's very hot, warm, things are weighing quite a lot, and lots of handwork still. Even we try to automatize, so it's still lots of handwork, and you need to be awake. You need to be awake all the time what you are doing, otherwise it's a problem. So it's a difficult, and this is not the question about roto-molding. This is the same problem in every industrial area to get industry workers. So people are, they try to find more like a service works, and well, I cannot say easier work, but it's like they are looking more like office works, like, or something you can do from the home base or whatever. So it's difficult, and so we have been again in a way lucky that all our workers being there, like we have like what should I say? How should I say this? Between like over 20 years been working from us, 20 to 25 years. The newest one is a little bit less than 10 years. So they all know, they know quite a lot about you. They don't need anybody to give them instruction what to do and how to do. But to get the new one there is it's a tricky thing. But we've been lucky, and we need to keep them. We need to look after that everything is okay, and they have a good working environmental, and the work safety is a big issue, big issue for us, and environmental issues. People are valuing when you take care of that everything, like your working environment is something which is under open discussions all the time. Like, what kind of tools you have, what you are wearing. We are looking after that. That people have all the kind of good shields, like good shoes, and sometimes they don't care themselves so much about if the shoes are a little bit in bad shape, and then they get some wounded or something, and they are away 1 week in sick leave. So for us, a new pair of shoes is nothing compared to one worker is 1 week away. So lots of these issues, which then I hope is a high value then for the worker.
But do you have a salary increase?
We understand how tough environment is a roto-molding for work. Yeah, sorry.
How about the salaries? Are they keep on increasing? Is affecting your business? Wage increase?
There is like a common system in Finland, more or less. It's of course it has been changed, but it's quite a lot, like 2-3% every spring. Has been so far, at least. I know that there is this big discussion between workers' association and the industry associations now, that some agreements are ending in the end of this year, and they haven't had any sessions yet about. They are not like finding any common idea of it, and that can open up some bad, some bad future for a short time at least, if there is a workers' association come up with some idea that that people are not coming to work for 2 weeks or something. So, but at the moment, yeah, it's been very like a stabilized system that it has been every year. Even the inflation rate is quite high. At the moment, it's like 7.58% already as well in Finland, which is probably not so high figure as in other European countries, what I have seen. But still, it makes the people's living, the rent costs. These people in our factory, they could have a 3-4 child and to school them and feed them, and it's yeah, it's a tough issue.
So so I see that there are issues like on workers issues. Are you investing in automation of the plants or already automated most of the machines? What is like?
I have looking this a little bit from the other, let's say, from the other point. Automation, like, okay, really automation, like I have a totally 100% automated Roto-Moulding machine, like for example, what Persico is making. Yeah. Oh boy, they are beautiful issues. But then you have to have also products which you are like you need to make them like all the time, because at least in subcontracting business you might have some problems to find the customers who are ready to pay so much about the molds what is used in automated machines. But back to but my point of view in this issue is that when thinking about that, we are in a country as well in Nordic countries, we can think about that as our whole market area. So there isn't so much products which you can really like manufacture like 60,000 a year or something like that. These kind of bigger issues like composters or waste handling products or something, there you find probably that kind of amounts, but already in the late 90s, when I thought about this issue, when I saw all these 5-axis routers and what they have, the new automated issues, what my friends in America are using a lot of secondary operations, and we were like thinking that but that's not solve the issue of that we need people there, more people there. Anyhow, somebody needs to put it that in a machine and look after that secondary operations. We try to avoid secondary operations as much as possible, and we try to discuss with the customers, as I told you previous, that when they come with the one simple cover or something which they need to have 10 different kinds of openings, which probably guys somewhere else are putting in a CNC router, 5-axis, 3-axis router, which are making those openings. So we started to think about how to make those openings already in a mold. And we found a solution. We found a solution with the long testing period using some silicone instead of Teflon. And we made some silicone molds with these small issues and find it a very, very good and easy way to make like what we have it in. The first one, we made it air duct for a tractor manufacturer. There was 212 I think it was like a 15mm round openings to get the air in, and those we succeeded to make in a mold. We didn't have to drill them or put them somewhere. So that was a great opening for us. And today they are called I know that many in our industry know the name mouse hose technique. And so we started that and went to German mold maker, mouse company, with that idea, and they made it as first molds with those kind of issues, and that we have find it very successful for our business. That we can first, of course, first we need to first we need to discuss with the customer that can we mold more than only that, you know, if there is something else around that product what they have shown us. And then our industrial designer is making and that kind of propose the picture for them of the whole issue. And if they see it's okay and we take this like in this way, that how we can do it in a mold, so that when our guys are open to mold, they probably need to just say, you know, clean some scrap there, maybe push, you know, there is another way to make opening as well. You just kick out a little piece there easily, and so on. So that I am thinking about this automation. So I haven't find a reason so far to buy any more automated issues, because we have succeeded quite well with. Yeah. Well, you know, okay, I don't know, keep it simple, stupid is always in my way. I try to keep that in my mind, but it's yeah, I try to keep that, but in a way to go, yeah, I don't have like total good answer of this. Maybe I know everybody, guys who are using with routers, and they have lots of against my opinion, but I don't know. I don't want to have so much, you know, scrap in my floor. When like CNC routers are going, you have lots of plastic around.
Yeah, if you talk about a scrap, you know, how much scrap you generate? What is like, you know, product defects?
We try to avoid lots of it, and
what is percentage wise?
The scrap rate. Actually, you mean a real scrap?
Yeah.
The last figure we have it. We actually have it just the Lloyd's auditing last week of the quality issues. So at the moment it's a 2.3%. So it's very low, the scrap rate.
So you're maintaining it. It's getting more lesser and lesser. How it is like?
Yeah, our target is that it's a 2%.
Okay.
Less and less, of course. So we are a little over that. But
okay,
it's I'm sorry.
Go on. Say, complete it. Complete what you want to say.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, about the scrap rate. So, and of course we are. What is that? We are recycling everything. So if it's not burnt plastic, but so everything else we are recycling, and we are receiving it back as a black pellets. We are powdering ourselves. We have 2 big grinders in our factory, so we are powdering ourselves and making some that kind of underground containers, small containers for gray water handling for one customers out of them.
So you're kind of recycling all the usable scrap.
Yeah. Everything else, which is like if you have burned something in our process, so that goes to energy, so-called energy. What is that? Waste handling company. They are using that in their big furnace for the central heating for households as a fuel.
Okay, let's talk about a little bit R&D and innovation at your company. You have a proprietary design. You have you know, subcontracting. So can you how this in your company R&D side of it, when you do the subcontracting, you work with your customers to develop a product, or they give you the design, or your team develops the products? What it is like?
Yeah, we cooperate. Of course, we have a group of our own guys. We are like a four. Oh, that's a part where I like to be in. Of course, that's always, and they are like, sometimes maybe they are. I'm pushing too much, but yeah, that's the best part of the whole business, to be in R&D work. And so yeah, we have 2 or 3 guys in our factory, and then our industrial designer. And we try to always open the discussion so that many subcontracting cases, the customer might have already quite long thought about what they want to have.
Mm.
And as I told you also already in the previous, we try to always open the discussion so way that please can show me where it goes, this, where we are using this and what is there around it, and is it connected to other components and so on, to get it more like that they can compare it to a vacuum mold kit or cap or cover or something like that. So and that's the way we open the discussion with them and work. And our industrial designer is then coming up with and that kind of from we are not sending a file to our potential customer or customer with a new product. We are just sending them few pictures, and this is how the whole thing could look when it's roto-molded. And then they can discuss there together that yeah, that looks interesting, or maybe not, I don't know. They want to have some budget price, maybe an idea about the mold price, and so on. And that's the way we open the possible new project. And if the customer is happy to continue, so then we can make a second step that we work more. We ask more details and about the product, and maybe give them a little more like more, let's say, pictures or something, just more thoughts about the fruits for their thoughts about that, how fine issue it's going to be, because it's going to be a fine issue because it's roto-molded, of course. And so finally, if they are happy with that, then they need to order the project from us. Before we are really working with files and sending them 3D files where they can work with the 3D files and send us a back, and that we are sending back and forth and so that's the way of what we are working with the new projects.
I mean, that's what you enjoy.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's great. I'll think about how many times when we are going in this way. So of course there's not so seldom when finally when customer has left the session, left the meeting, let's say the third or fourth session, and then they say, okay, we are ready to order this one. Then sometimes the guys are looking me and I'm looking the guys. I mean my factory guys, and then we say, how the hell we are making this? Because it might be look so complicated, and then we are sending these to our mold maker, which we are used quite a lot the same mold makers for a long time. And normally this is what he's sending his first comments from with WhatsApp or with email to everybody. He's sending this Have you had Reijo again in R&D team? Yeah. So that's he's like, but he's a good guy as well. He's
So
like they find a solution for the molds as well. Sometimes they say that no, you cannot mold. No, we cannot make a mold like this. You need to change something, and then of course we have to go back to the customer and say this part you need to change because the mold aluminium is not, the casting doesn't, it's too tight place for aluminium, whatever. So that might be, but otherwise we've been lucky enough to that I'm pretty sure that we never had said finally that sorry, but we promised too much. I think we always find a solution then how to make it.
So you get the molds from Europe, or you get the molds from Asia? Where do you get your molds done?
From Europe.
Okay, so you're cost effective.
It's a cost effective. Yes, the logistic is no problem. They load it normally on Fridays, and during Sunday, Monday, the lorries are coming through Europe, and they are somewhere on the next Wednesday. We have the mold normally, so it comes quite quickly and easy to cooperate, as well. We have lots of these teams sessions together and looking these issues. So it works very well. And I know our molds are not at all the cheapest one. Our molds are costly. That I can. If the customer is just looking for the supplier who has the lower cost mold, so then probably we are not the one. Because we want to have molds which are running also after 10 years without bigger problems. Of course, we have our own our workshop where we can keep the mold shop. I mean, where we can keep the molds in good condition. But if you make a lousy mold, well, I say lousy mold, but if you make too cheap molds, so they start to leak and they start to break, and customer don't understand why his product is looking like that, and then you say the mold is so bad or something. So you end up in discussions where you don't want to end up at all.
Okay. But recently, I think we've been seeing continuous fluctuations in the oil prices and also the polymer prices. So how you're managing your business with these fluctuations?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Of course, the energy prices is it's a critical question at the moment. Seems anyhow that our government has made good decisions during early years. That we are still investing to nuclear power, and because of that, Finland seems to overcome this problem without any bigger problems about lacking of electricity. And but in a harsh winter, most of our houses are heated up by electricity, and like factories are running with electricity. Of course, now we are not getting any more natural gas from Russia, so there are lots of companies who have needed to turn out to be either to oil, back to oil, or then they need to use more electricity or something. So in the winter still it might come some issues about this, but of course it's not going to be hit. I mean, if the lack of supply of electricity would come to our country. So they are not taking taking the electricity supply to industry. It's going to be households, and maybe a few hours in a night or something. They cut out the electricity feeding for your private house or something like that. So the industry should be okay. Of course, the price of the electricity is then another issue. We are in a same situation as everybody in Europe, so the price could be drastical. And so we are using gas in our machines, but it's not a natural gas. It's not. It's a tank gas. So we are lucky with that.
And you have recently,
of course, the price is high.
Recently you have warm weather in Europe. Does it affected your business on running operations, or you change schedules of the factory schedules?
I'm sorry, we have had what?
You guys had a warm weather recently, right? The temperatures were high, and so that
yeah, well, yeah, you mean the high, yeah, the summer, the warm one. Yes, we have it in Europe and Finland as well. Yeah, that has been, that's a tricky part inside the factory, of course. Yeah. And so we need to take care of that there is actually air enough in a factory that the machines are not sucking in, because they are using a lot of air, those machines, the burners,
right,
and also the cooling systems. So that's one point we need to take care of, that there is not too hot inside the factory. We have a regulation that if the environment inside the factory is, I think the level is 30 degrees, 28 degrees. So you need to give a 10 minutes pause to a worker every 1 hour.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, that's a common regulation in our country. So they can go out, or in our coffee room, it's totally air conditioned, so they can adjust themselves. It's probably the coolest place we have in our factory. we don't keep it so cool in our office, but yeah, guys like to have there. And I don't know if that ends up that they get flu, but yeah. So they like to have that, and also we are offering them magnesium water, and we say you need to drink more than you want. You need to drink this now. So to get this magnesium sulfate is very, very, very important for them, so that they don't lose the energy, because they are sweating so much. They are sweating really much.
So you are 8-hour shift, or what kind of shift?
It's 8 hours per shift. Yes, that's true.
8 hours per shift. Okay. And you guys have overtime too. In Asia we have overtime. Overtime, OT. We call it OT, overtime. Do you have extra hours? The workers can work more than 8 hours?
Yeah, they can do you mean overwork? Yeah, they can do overwork, and sometimes we are dividing folks so that we can run 12 hours shift for one machine or something like that. It totally depends on the demand.
Yeah.
So we are not manufacturing even our proprietary products. We don't have a stock. We can say like that. We don't have it. Sometimes we can have a minor stock of floatery containers, but more or less we are running all the time. So by the orders of our customers. So we try to keep the inventory as low as possible, as long as they are they are there in the pellets in the silos. So if you start to see piles of products somewhere in the corner, it's like a pushing that why nobody has sell them away here. So, but it's we've been lucky in this way that we are running in nearly totally according to orders, what we are getting from our customers.
Yeah. And you have mostly the Finnish employees or workers, or you also have outsiders also?
We have two Vietnamese. Otherwise are Finns. Yeah. All the others are Finns.
So they adjust the environment, the cold weather. Finland is very pretty cold.
Oh, well, only in winter, yeah. But that's that's people are enjoying inside the factory the winter. They like that. Our cooling rate is totally different in the winter time than in the summertime. But of course, then we took it already very, very early stages, the inside temperature, the mold inside temperature into our production. Of course, also we were interested right away the Roto-Lock system when it came in the picture, but that only gives you like starting information to mold, like when you start with a new product. So you can have the values how to start, but then you need to have a values for the winter time, because the cooling rate is much lower. For the summertime it's much longer. And
yeah.
So I met this funny guy, the Gary Latigan, in some meeting in Europe, and he has his presentation of temp locker, and I already thought about it, that somehow how we could use the Roto-Lock, as a continuous use, but it wasn't the possibility to do that. And then Gary came out to somewhere, I think it was in Germany or somewhere, he had a presentation, and then we met in a bar, and I let him to talk me over in 15 minutes that he has the world's finest machines, and so I ordered it one for one machine. It took some time. For us to learn it, how to use it, and also it was still some development stage. Those temp lockers, they had some issues which didn't were like totally in good shape, but later on they have turned out to be excellent things, and we bought it, I think 4 or 5 sets all in all we have in our factory. Now the latest machine what we bought, it's already inside built there. Okay. So that's not run with temp locker, but other machines are fully operated with inside temperature control, which is the key point, that you can keep your scrap rate low and you keep your production as effective. Well, let's say you keep your molding parameters is maybe the right way to say it. That you keep your molding parameters in the winter, in the spring, in the summer, in the fall, best possible. Best possible, because they are changing you. I mean, you win minutes and minutes every time when you use inside temperature control. I mean, that's when thinking cumulative in a yearly base, I mean, it's a huge pile of money. So the price of the equipment is nothing compared to the savings you make.
Interesting. Okay, I want to touch a little bit outside of Roto-Moulding. One is, we have been reading reports of the Finland is the #1 education, in terms of education, whether it's school or universities and things like that. And you are part of the supporting some education programs of the universities as well, right? Local universities. Can you talk about that side of your role, about education aspects of it?
Yeah. It's I think it's a question of the University of Industrial Designers. That's a question. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What we see, the problem for Roto-Moulding and cooling the information what you get from this compared to like vacuum molding or other plastic processes, you find a literature. Oh my goodness, you find so much literature in early stages, particularly. Today, of course, you find already, at least from internet, you find information from Roto-Moulding as well. But like early stage, so I was thinking about the future, that in future, when it comes to these new industrial designers and they go to the industry work and they need to design something new for the vehicles, for whatever, and they don't have a single clue of this process and the possibility of this process. So I found out that again, with my friend knew another friend, this guy knew that guy, and one knew a teacher of industrial designing in our university, of Aalto University. So I contacted him and said that I think you are arranging tours to industries yearly. I say, yeah, we are doing that also in plastic business, and so that was the starting point of that university. They regularly send the last year students to our factory, and I give them and like 45. I tried to squeeze it to 45 minutes presentation of rotational molding, the history, and what has been done and made. I have last point. I have probably 60 slides about pictures around the world what has been made, just to give them idea that there is no limits. And I try to keep it squeezed because sometimes I'm going over 1 hour and 15 minutes, and half of them are sleeping already. So that's the way. And then they can run. Then we are making a tour around the factory, and they see the machines and how guys are working. And then we come back to the meeting room, and we have that kind of answer and question session to the end. A few of them are giving a good question, so I see that somebody has even listened what I have talked. So it's yeah. But my idea is that still everybody of them are getting something about, so they know about rotational molding. Yeah. Sometimes they are maybe in our customers. I have already met young engineers coming with as they are working as a designers for our customer companies, and they are coming to our factory and meeting our guys, and then they say, yeah, I remember I've been here 15 years, 10 years ago, and they give you a presentation and so on. So that's like, it's good to see that. And today we have 3 like a lower degree school or academy for industrial designers, and all of them, they are not coming every year, but one is this Aalto University is coming every year, but sometimes they come, sometimes they not come. It depends. Of course, now during the Corona time, it hasn't been any possibility to arrange it, but otherwise, yes. I see this is like you put something in the future for them. Of course, maybe we get even 1 or 2 or 3 guys of them to as our customer later on. But as a general, they give a lots of information. 1 point more probably of that issue like this Aalto University. So more than half of them are coming outside Finland. Mm-hmm. Those young.
So I think this program is a good program for particularly the industry design guys. If they are exposed to the rotational molding, there are a huge number of possibilities in their designs, in process wise. Yeah, I think the other countries, if they have programs like this industry design, I think the way you are giving the opportunity for the students to visit and learn about it and also see the possibilities, I think that's good for the overall roto-molding industry itself. At the same time, creative designs, right? You get more
That's
creative
true.
design. Yeah, so
That's true. I'm just going to give them, try to give them just some fruit for their thoughts about them.
right, that's right. Yeah,
Limits are not so like.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
almost I can say that if somebody is coming, I can always say yes, we can do that.
It's
It is
yes,
like
it is.
that. Yeah, even we can do a cover for a iPhone, but there's no sense about it. But it's possible.
Wow.
No.
You can say yes, we can do that kind of
Yeah.
theme.
Yeah,
Okay.
I haven't seen any like limit. Of course, there might be a limitation for materials. Like that's a one like not so good point for our industry is that we are lacking maybe materials more like a technical materials than because the polyethylene is still taking 95% of the global production. So it's only a 5% for the global roto-molding market, which are eager to use something else. And so maybe nylon polyamide you can have that from many places, many sources. Then it starts to be a propane, you can have it, but then the other materials could be more problematic. We have tested quite a lot of materials, so it's interesting and so on. But also I understand that if there is one eager user in Finland, one eager user in Australia, one and two maybe in America, maybe one in Germany. So raw material supplier or manufacturer is not so interested in of maybe of that 100 ton all together, so to supply these 5 customers or something. So I understand that as well, that suppliers are not so interested in to develop materials for rotational molding. Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to continue the discussion, but as we already take a longer than we thought, and the company, usual 1 hour, it is already close to 2 hours.
Really?
Before it's 1 hour 45 minutes, probably 1.5 hours now, and
is there anybody awake anymore?
Yeah, let them. We had to knock on them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we end this conversation, I'd like to ask you to give a recommended best practices for the roto-molding companies and professionals that you implemented or you have seen it gives good results. You can probably a couple of best practices. Can you share?
What should I say about best practices is when you are in a business. I mean, if you're not, I mean, yeah, my point of view is now when you are in a business already. Is that what you mean? Like
Yes.
best practices?
That's right. You are suggesting for the roto-molding companies, already in their businesses. I think some are successful, some are still struggling with many challenges. So based on your experience, your journey, or your friends or circle, I think you've seen a lot of things. So it's kind of do's and don'ts type,
Yeah, exactly.
So, can you share some?
Yeah. First of all, so run faster than your competitors. That's the number one. Run faster. It's because customers are not many times they are not only asking from you. They ask also other molders. So you need to run faster, and so that's a one issue that you come right away when they come have some new project or something. So you come in no time. You come with your suggestion. I don't mean you have to come with your price and those kind of things in 5 seconds, but you come with your suggestion very quickly. So run faster. It's always like that. come with new ideas, and try to keep contact with your customers. Try to learn as quickly as possible. Is something really goes badly, that because it's many times when your customers are not telling you that you are not doing well for them. You are not supplying well for them. And maybe you're gonna heard that then when it's already too late, that they have already changed supplier for their new products or something like that. We have ended up of this in early stage. So like we have little to skills or manpower those days for marketing and or keeping contact with customers. That's number one issue at least. And then you need to take care of your workers. That's another issue. They need to be well aware that they are not just some force you have in your factory, which you can just tell them what to do. You need to listen to them. You need to respect them because they are doing a real tough work there. I mean, when you see them sweating in the summertime, you just wonder, oh, I couldn't last there for 10 minutes. It's so tough thing. So these are probably the two main issues which you need to be very well aware all the time, that customers and your own workers are in good conditions when you are working with them together. That will for sure leave your underlying profit money, business money, which you can make more invests, which you can enjoy yourself, but which you can also like give your workers some extra benefits or whatever to keep everything running. It's this is probably the two main issues. Again, and I'm trying to keep also this issue simple like this. That's what I have to say on your question, Peran, on this.
Yeah, you mentioned, I think, straight points in how to. You have to be faster, taking care of the client, taking care of the workers. Well taken. Yeah. Reijo sir, it's been a really wonderful conversation. I'm thinking of, in the future we have a part 2 of this session. I still have a lot of other points to talk, but it's already close to 2 hours. Maybe some other time we will have a part 2 session with you. We'll discuss more various other issues of the Roto-Moulding. Before I end, I think you are part of the Nordic or ARM also, right? And also you are inducted as a Hall of Fame in ARM. So can you tell about? I missed that point of your journey with the ARM in US and also the activities that you are doing in the Nordic area for the to supporting the Roto-Moulding fraternity.
Yeah. I joined it ARM International United States already in 1979, I think so. And I've been that was an eye-opening issue for me, because Americans are very open to discuss about the problems in our industry, and those meetings they have, they give a nice and good presentations. And those days you didn't get anywhere else the information. Of course, we have this license agreement, so Rashmit was helping us a lot. But anyhow, that was a real good learning point for me. And then of course I was luckily to be invited of the board of association. I was acting there 8 years in the board of Association of Rotational Molders. So that was also a learning curve for me to know how the associations were working, and oh my goodness, how Americans are doing freewheeling those things. It's a wonderful issue. And then the same thing in our Nordic. I haven't been in any board issue of our Nordic. I'm only a member of it, and or my company. So, but we have been. It has been a good also to meet the Nordic colleagues there every second year. What the meetings are organized. It's a pity though that just now in this fall we are not taking part of the Nordic meeting. But anyhow, I'm more than happy that Ronnie is still running and interested to keep up our Nordic. It's a very important issue.
Great. Actually, that I don't know. I missed that point, so I wanted to ask about it, ARM and Nordic things. So because that is actually these associations are playing important roles in you know, for the community, Roto-Moulding community. Their role is very important, and you know, people like you participating in it and building that, you know, that association. This makes a huge difference. That's why I want to make sure I won't ask that point before I leave today. Okay.
Yeah, I've been always like even in Nordic Arm, so we can discuss quite open with our competitors in Norway or even from Finland. So we can discuss things like from the molds, for example, some technical issues. We don't, of course, we are not talking about customers or prices, but we are talking about, have you tested this material? Is it running in your factory, in your molds, or are you using more aluminum or sheet steel, and why you are using? I mean, that's a really nice. Sometimes you see that, oh my goodness, they had banged their heads just in the same problem what we have. Now they have solved. No.
So I think it's a good thing that the exchange of information and the practices, so that everybody stay connected and they help each other. So
exactly.
Okay, Racer, I want to end this session here. Okay, before we end it, can you share final remarks to the audience? Yeah.
I enjoyed the meeting. Enjoyed to be one part of it, and this is great. Thank you.
Okay, guys, that's the end of this Roto-Moulding leadership session with Ray Ström. Again, thank you very much, Ray. It's a really wonderful discussion. A lot of ideas and suggestions. It's useful for all the Roto-Moulding fraternity who are participating, or they join the live session, or even they view it later on. I once again thank you on behalf of Technobase, and as well as on behalf of the Martin Spencer as well, because Martin is the one who invited you to join this one. So I take the privilege of, on behalf of both, thank you for joining this session today.
Okay.
Appreciate the time.
Thank you. I appreciate it to be one part of it. Greetings to Martin when he comes back.
Yes, thank you.
Okay,
bye. Guys. Bye. Yeah, thank you very much. Guys, that's the the presentation and our discussion about the Roto-Moulding leadership with Mr. Ray Ström. He is the CEO of the Motoplast. I'm hoping that you find this whole session is interesting and useful. You may learn some points, and maybe you can some of his suggestions you can utilize it in your own business. If you like to watch it on this episode again, you can always go back to the Technology channel on YouTube. Feel free to check it out. Not only this episode, but also all the past episodes of the Roto-Moulding leadership. I just wanted to tell you that invite to the next episode is on this 21st September next month. I invite you all to participate with the founder of the Versaplast from Mexico. I want to make sure I pronounce this correctly. Is Horacio Lobo Gerchuche. I hope I pronounced correctly, but I need to check with Martin when I invite him next when I meet him on the 21st September. And we have other future schedules in October. We have from India, and we have from New Zealand also in November. So these are all the monthly programs we have. Please do join on regular basis. And if you missed the past episodes, they're available. The past episodes with Ms. Jalal from Flowtex, and Bill Spenceley from FlexSwapper, and Gary Lechigan from Roto-Solution from South Africa, and Mr. Ravi Mehra from USA, and Mr. Ashil Baheti from India. So these are all available on YouTube. Please feel to check it out. I thank you for joining this session today. I appreciate the time. I look forward to welcoming you in the future episodes of the Roto-Moulding Leadership. Thank you all. Bye-bye for now.